This is white. This is white people hair.
What does that mean?
It means that this hair is white.
You are a white person.
I'm not supposed to be white. We're supposed to be black and we're black.
You know that whole ideology of like respectability politics, so it's like in order to seem as if you're doing work, you need to look as if you're doing work.
Yeah.
Or look as if you can get this work done. They're basically saying with black hair, that means that we can never be professional, essentially. Because it doesn't matter how you look. If you have anything more than that, then there's an expression that can be politicized, and then you're looking at it as if you're associating it with like criminality and all sorts of stigmas around hair, black hair.
Welcome to World Moving Trend, where we give you an update of what is trending around the world and especially in the United States of America. Note that this content is for educational purpose. It is not to create confusion or to create chaos in your mind or in your environment. Rather, it's to educate you on how different persons live around the globe. Let's dive into what is trending. A lot have been said about the black man's hair, our hair. You know, I grew up in Africa, and then a lot of things were told to me that I'm just realizing that these things are blatant lies. I was told that our hair is not professional, it's not beautiful, our hair is not accepted and all that. And that is why you go to a corporate place, like you go into the bank, you see the ladies, the bankers in wigs or in different corporate hair that is not natural. And I'm now realizing that the reason why there've been so much discrimination against our hair is because the white man is jealous of our hair. They love our hair. You saw in the video earlier how a boy was angry that his hair is not black, that he wants a black man's hair. And you now see a lot of white people trying to do our own hairstyles and all that. You know, the white race never actually they are professionals in imitating or taking what is not theirs and turning into theirs, and that's because they are so good at copywriting, and they will copy it well. And this and many more is making me understand why there have been so many discriminations, so many bottlenecks around the black man's hair in the professional settings. They'll tell you your hair is not accepted in the school. They'll tell you, no, you should not do your hair some certain ways. They'll tell you so many things. Then I'm beginning to realize that why a white person can take he or she's hair and can take it anywhere and is accepted. Why is it that it's black man's hair? Then I realized that, man, these guys are actually jealous of how beautiful and how lovely our hair is. I'm sure you've seen a lot of persons talk about how a white lady or a white man came to them and touched their hair without their permission. That's because they love it. It's so sweet. It's so lovely. It's like everything. And that's what it is basically. And now I'm beginning to realize that, oh, for real, my hair is actually gold. Like the white man wishes to have the type of hair I've got. The white man wishes to be able to do stuff with his hair like I can do, and that's what it is basically. But note that this video is to bring education, is to open your mind, especially if you're a black person and you're having doubts on why your hair is this and that. Hear other people talk about it and learn from them. Note that credit belongs to all the content creators in this video. And please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I need you to subscribe to the channel so you can grow this channel for me. I'll be right back.
The most artistic, exuberant, creative, and luxurious things about black women is their hair. It shows their personality, style, and is the look. No matter how confident and creative black women's hair is, black women's bodies and appearance have unfortunately been more policed by Western societies than anyone to ever exist. From being demonized for having hips, butts, and lips, then having those same traits emulated and paid for by white women, to making it illegal for black women to wear the hair that grows out of their scalp. When we look at the strides in beauty products for black women, there's a gruesome history, as with most things that relate to black people in this country. There's a dark past to black hair in America. And even though we finally got to things like the Bronner Brothers hair shows, Nappy Wood, and the natural hair movement, where black women can bask in their cultural hair and appearance, there was a century's worth of struggle and laws to overcome to get there. Because like I said, no one has been more policed for existing in America than black women. Passed in 1786 by Louisiana Governor Esteban Miro, the Tignon Law was a sumptuary law mandating that women of African descent, free and enslaved, in New Orleans cover their hair with a knotted headscarf, or tignon. It aimed to stifle their growing economic influence, prevent excessive attention to their elaborate hairstyles, and reinforce white superiority by forcing a visual symbol of subservience. In 2026, only 27 states have ratified the Crown Act. The Crown Act stands for Creating a Respectful and Open World for Natural Hair. It's legislation aimed at prohibiting discrimination based on hair texture and protective styles like braids, locks, or twists in workplaces and in school. Passed by only 27 plus states, it expands the legal definition of race discrimination to protect women and individuals from hair bias. That's 240 years of this country legally dictating that black women's hair is either not good enough or makes white people uncomfortable because of how elaborate it is. Imagine being told you can't work, go to church, go to school with your box-dyed blonde hair. That would be crazy, right? But this has been the reality for every single woman in my family going back centuries. A few months back, Michelle Obama made comments about being able to wear braids now that she couldn't do so in the White House. And that's so true, because they would have crucified her like they did Obama for the tan suit. But you have the right conservative political pundits like Megyn Kelly ridiculing black women, trying to compare white women's hair beds to their own, which is just her screaming into an echo chamber of countless conservative white women who know nothing about history or black women's hair.
That was intentional. But it was like having me, the former first lady, a black woman, show up in the world in her natural hair. Even if I didn't do it for those 8 years, I understood the importance of doing it at some point and signaling a message to young girls and to professionals out there. Stay out of our hair, you know?
Wait, oh, so it's a black woman who you can't tell how to wear her hair. Can you tell the white women? How about the Asians? The Indian women. How about Indian women? They have very thick hair. A lot of times it's curly, it gets unruly. I'm sure they have to do the irons just like you, Michelle. Just like white women do too. By the way, I've burned my hair to the high heavens with those irons. Like, who is she fucking kidding? Everything is about poor boo fucking who, Michelle Obama.
One of the biggest negative outcomes of a century's worth of slavery and colonization is viewing ourselves through the eyes of European beauty standards. Skin bleaching, hair straightening, hating our features, colorism, which leads me to the term good hair.
You do. I decided at 11 years old I'd have a baby outside of my race so she could have better hair.
You decided at 11 years old that you were going to have...
I was teased, called nappy head, bald headed. So I decided
to have a baby outside of your race. And what
There's a tax that black women pay that nobody talks about. It's not income tax, it's not financial tax, it's a hair tax. And it's been collected for centuries. When enslaved African women arrived onto the shores of this country, the first thing colonizers did was ensure to strip them of their culture, language, names, beauty, practices, traditional clothing, and yes, their relationship with their own hair. In many West African countries, hair was and is sacred. The way you wore it signaled your tribe, your social status, your age, whether you were married. Hair had a language, and that language was deliberately silenced. What replaced it was a hierarchy, a racial caste system that said the closer you looked to white, the more human you were. Straighter hair meant proximity to whiteness. Proximity to whiteness meant proximity to safety. So generations of black women received this message, not just from white society, but eventually from inside their own communities, that the hair growing out of their heads was a problem. That's the world Garrett Morgan was selling into when he accidentally discovered chemical straightening in 1909. He wasn't creating demand. The demand already existed because black women were navigating workplace, schools, and institutions that had written European hair texture into their definition of professional, of clean, of acceptable. The relaxer didn't create the wound. It was sold as a bandage for a wound that white supremacy made. And that bandage was literally caustic, lye-based chemicals burning into scalps. Girls sitting in kitchen chairs while their mothers applied creams that could chemically burn skin on contact because the alternative was being turned away from a job, being sent home from school, being told you were unkempt, unrefined, unpresentable. That word, unkempt, is doing a lot of work because a black woman's natural hair, freshly washed, moisturized, and cared for, takes enormous labor to maintain. It's anything but unkempt. But the standard was never about cleanliness, as we know, with hygiene is cultural. It was about whose aesthetic got to be default, whose biology got written into the employee handbook, whose hair texture got coded as professional, and whose got coded as a problem. For most of American history, you could legally be fired for wearing locks. Imagine that. Legally expelled for wearing an afro. The Army banned twists and dreadlocks in 2014, hairstyles worn almost exclusively by black women and men, while placing no equivalent restrictions on hairstyles worn by white women. Schools across the country have sent black girls home, made them miss class, threatened expulsion over their natural hair. A child in Louisiana almost got expelled for her locks in 2018. The school called her hair a distraction. Think about what that does to a child. Before she has language for racism, before she can articulate what's happening to her, her body is learning you are not accepted as you are. The Crown Act was introduced to make race-based hair discrimination explicitly illegal at the federal level. It has passed the House multiple times. It still has not passed the Senate. And today, we still don't have federal law protecting black women from being fired for wearing the hair that grows out of their head. The natural hair movement isn't a trend. It's not just an aesthetic choice. It's a political act. Every woman who put down the relaxer, who stopped burning their scalp to meet the standard built around someone else's biology, she's rejecting an inheritance that goes all the way back to the auction block. But it is within the purview of women to do whatever they want to do. Black women are some of the most upkept, groomed women in the world, and we no longer live by the same standards that getting a relaxer means that you hate yourself. It could be for the ease of managing the hair that grows out of our head. But like I said, black women pay a tax for existing, and black women pay a tax for hair, and black women have been paying that tax long enough. Stay blessed, my black queens. Bye.
Discrimination against black hair has been so commonplace that there had to be a law passed to prohibit policies that ban or penalize natural hair, including afros, braids, twists, and locks in employment and K-12 education. That law was called the Crown Act and was passed in California in 2019. And as of today, 27 states and Washington, D.C. have adopted it. You see, black hair has been systematically policed for centuries through discriminatory grooming policies in schools and workplaces, enforcing Eurocentric beauty standards that categorize natural textures such as locks, braids, and afros as unprofessional or improper. One example is in 1786, the Louisiana governor passed the Tignon laws, which forced free and enslaved black women to wear a Tignon headscarf. The reason why is because black women wore their hair in creative and elegant ways and would adorn their textured hair with gems, beads, and other accents that made them stand out from white women. These laws were designed to regulate black women's hair. This attracted white men, which enraged white women, causing an uproar. However, black women fought back by turning the Tignons into a major fashion statement, using ribbons, brocades, beads, and the most luxurious of fabrics in their head wraps, and became another way to let their elegance and ingenuity shine. Unfortunately, today, hair discrimination against black people still occurs, which is why we need the Crown Act passed nationwide. We still see videos coming out of children having to cut their hair, take out their protective styles or beads and adornments, while white administrators declare that these are just the rules, without any care or acknowledgement of the historic racism attached to those rules. When your hair is politicized due to white supremacy culture, simply wearing it becomes a political statement. That's what we saw during the Black Power movement in the 1960s, when black men and women embraced afros, braids, locks, and twists. Black hair is revolutionary. Black hair is beautiful. But even more simply, black hair is. Always has been, always will be. This has been your Black History Month Minute 2026, Day 18, Black Hair. I'm Dr. Van, here to help you understand why you should care. It's more than just hair. Check out my story on IG for Black History Month Minutes from previous years, and I'll see you tomorrow. Happy Black History Month. Yes, I am and always have been tender-headed.
The flyer circulating on social media regarding natural hair sets a dangerous precedent in this country. There are several critical issues that must be considered. It shows cultural bias. The hairstyles shown as not accepted are predominantly natural black hairstyles, afros, and puffs, which are culturally and historically significant. Even if not explicitly stated, the rules disproportionately impact African children, making it a form of indirect discrimination. The policy appears to favor straight or flat hair, reinforcing Eurocentric norms as the acceptable standard. You're targeting rather than being neutral. Using these specific African hairstyles instead of neutral diagrams or hair textures send a message that certain cultures are being singled out. Yeah, you heard that right. Not considering the psychological impact, yeah, it's really that deep, on the children. Labeling natural hairstyles as not accepted can negatively affect a child's self-esteem, identity, and self-belonging. Schools are meant to be safe and inclusive spaces. Policies like this undermine diversity and cultural respect, and we are a multicultural nation. You know, here every creed and race find an equal place, yeah, as written in our national anthem. These rules are being enforced harshly on Black girls than any other student, raising concerns now for unequal treatment. It is also an outdated policy mindset. Modern educational standards increasingly recognize natural hair discrimination as unacceptable and regressive. Such policies may conflict with constitutional rights, human rights principles, and anti-discrimination laws. In short, a flyer like this does not promote discipline. It promotes discrimination. Natural hair is not the problem. Cultural biases.
As a Black woman who is consistently having to worry about her hair, it really does stem from our own people. So I'm a teacher, but right now I'm having my lunch break in the car, typing up emails and things of that sort. So I'm sitting in front of the office and I can hear and see the parents coming in and out. I see a familiar little girl. She's a third grader walking out with her dad, French braids in his hair, and her hair is out, kind of like mine, but it looks like it's fresh out of braids, so it's a bit more wavy, not as big and kind of like crazy looking as mine. It looks very cute in my opinion, and I hear him cursing as he's looking at his phone. Why the F? So I look up to see what could you be cursing at this little girl for. Mind you, forgot to say, yes, they are Black. And he's saying to her, why the F would she send you to school looking like, with your hair looking crazy like that? She could have at least did something like, you look a mess, and why would she send you to school looking so much a mess? And why wouldn't she put it in a ponytail? Cause you, nah, that's effing dumb. And the little girl is just trying to pat her hair down doing this. Like, I don't know. When I tell you, it makes me want to cry because as her father, why, first of all, are you saying that about her hair? Second of all, what is wrong with thick hair? Third of all, why are you cursing at her, telling her that she looks a mess and that they should not have sent her to school looking a mess? It's so mean. So now forever, that little girl's going to know that when her hair is like this, it looks a mess. And that's not the truth. Why does our hair have to look a mess? And why from our own people, our own family, are we scrutinized for the way our hair grows? It literally makes me want to cry. The complex comes from within. Not only are other people and other races talking about our hair, but our own people, the women, the men, your dad, your mom. What was wrong with her hair? It is sickening.
He's not getting a proper education. He's not getting a proper instructions.
Jerisha George's 17-year-old son, Daryl, was suspended a second time after returning to class at his Mont Bellevue, Texas school in mid-September. She says the school suspended Daryl because his lock hairstyle violated the district dress code.
I'd like to go back to class and do what I need to do to get my education.
George says Daryl was suspended for the first time in the same week that the state's Crown Act went into effect. The law prohibits discrimination based on hair texture or style, such as locks and braids.
It is a part of who we are. I want them to change their policies. I want them to stop being discriminatory against black and brown kids. Not just mine, but any other black and brown kid.
The dress code for the Barbers Hill Independent School District states that, quote, male students' hair will not extend at any time below the eyebrows or below the earlobes. A district spokesperson told CNN affiliate KTRK that the hair length rule doesn't conflict with the Crown Act. When reached by CNN, David Bloom, the district's director of communications, said the district was, quote, unable to comment. The family's lawyer said Daryl and his mother have been asked to meet with school officials. George told CNN she's considering legal action.
I'm trying to figure out how he's getting violated when y'all never seen his hair let down. How do y'all know it's below his eyebrows?
No unusual hair, no spiky hair, and no afro style.
Jarrell Jules reached the final interview stage with the Ritz Hotel when he was sent its employee grooming policy, which didn't allow afro style hair.
So then I decided to message the Ritz and to message my MP. When neither party had responded, I decided to message the Metro.
Once his story was published in the paper, Jarrell says the hotel's PR team got in touch.
They told me that their black hairstylist had approved the document, and so I was quite surprised by that, given that that was written in 2021.
Jarrell declined the final interview, but says he's open to speaking about diversity within the company.
Their message is basically saying that black people aren't professional, because all black people, or most black people, have afro hair naturally. That's their natural hair. And what they're saying is there's no way that you can present yourself naturally and look professional. And for me, that's unacceptable for them to say that. It says that there's a gap between luxury and black people, and that's a problem.
Jarrell's local MP, Labour's Andy Slaughter, called the hair policy racist and demeaning. The Ritz says it doesn't condone discrimination of any form.
And she goes, that wig, you can't wear wigs to school. And I said, it's not a wig, it's my hair. And I remember her running her hands through my hair and saying, oh, wow, I didn't know your hair could do that. It's beautiful. And that's still something that sticks with me today. Even like me shaving my head, I still have, sometimes, I'm detangling my hair and I'm like, like that memory just pops right back up. Like I can't run my fingers through my hair.
Why do we constantly push the narrative that black hair is unprofessional? You see, when I was 12, I was sent to Africa for discipline. I had long locks that had been growing for half of my life at this point, and they were removed. I told this story on here and it blew up. I had people in the comments talking about, yes, your hair had to be removed because it's unprofessional, you look rough, a lawyer has to be smart, a lawyer has to have short hair. And this is 2026 we're talking about. What has intellect got to do with the length of your hair? If we ourselves are talking about our hair in ways that perpetuates this narrative, how do you expect anybody else to take us seriously?
Republicans in Senate have blocked the bill that bans black hair discrimination. Let's talk about it. So the Crown Act is a law that prohibits race-based hair discrimination, which is the denial of employment and educational opportunities based on your hair texture. This includes natural hair protective styles like braids and bantu knots, black hair in general, because America has a long history of denying black people opportunities because their hair looks unprofessional. Why is this considered looking unprofessional? Because white America decided that a long time ago. I mean, when we were getting shipped over here from the motherland locking our hair like we normally do, the whites didn't like that and said that looks dreadful, they're dreadlocks. Didn't comprehend this texture and said, no, it's nappy. That narrative has continued to be pushed. Black woman is 80% more likely to change her natural hair to meet social norms or expectations at work. Black women are 1.5 times more likely to be sent home from the workplace because of their hair. 1 in 2 black children have experienced hair discrimination as early as 5 years old, and the impact can last a lifetime. On December 14th, Republicans in Senate voted against the Crown Act for the second time, which means it is still not a federal law. It's currently a law in 19 states, but not all 50. Imagine being denied an opportunity because of the way your hair grows out of your head. Welcome to Black America.
Why is there discrimination against black hair in black majority countries? See, in Jamaica, a 5-year-old girl was barred from her primary school because she had locks. The school prohibited locks on non-Rastafarian students, claiming the hairstyle could lead to lice. Meanwhile, over in Kenya, a Rastafarian student was kicked out of high school because she had locks. It was only after a court order that she was allowed to return to class. But there was a catch. She had to cover her locks with a turban.
It's teaching self-hate. It's telling them who you are naturally is not good enough, so that in order to fit in, you have to change who you are fundamentally.
Hair discrimination is nothing new. It has a long history dating back to 15th century West Africa.
Hair discrimination essentially began when Europeans came in contact with African people. And To be honest, in the very beginning, there was no sense of discrimination. In fact, European explorers and travelers, they actually wrote about the dynamic and impressive hairstyles of the African people they were encountering.
Hair and hairstyles were deeply respected. It indicated everything from a person's tribe, social rank, marital status, and age to their religion, wealth, and where they were from. For example, the Karamo people of Nigeria shaved their heads but left a tuft of hair on top. And the young girls of Senegal's Wolof people partially shaved their heads to signify that they weren't of marrying age.
It's almost like a person's social security card, because everything was able to be told about a person, who they were.
So what changed? The arrival of the transatlantic slave trade, which ruptured Africans' connection to their hair. Europeans weaponized the physical features of Africans like skin color and hair as justification for enslaving them. And slave traders would shave the heads of Africans headed to the Americas under the guise of sanitation.
Before African people even left the shores of Africa, they had left behind their precious reverential relationship with their hair. So they arrived into the new world with this already kind of sense of loss with their identity.
And we'll tackle how that loss of identity impacted African people in the Americas and beyond in part 2.
White women, watch this video and I'll be right back.
I don't know why, but as a white woman, I love correcting other white women about black hair. I don't know why. Marginalized cultures, like African slaves, don't pass things on to white people. White people steal those things. That's called cultural appropriation. Like this, or this. So I'd like to talk about this absolutely fantastic article I just saw a couple weeks ago about the history of black hairstyles. Before I even get into the various African cultures that you seem to be such an expert on, let's talk about African American culture. Growing up, many black women have fond memories of sitting between the legs of mothers and aunties, head tilted to one side as our hair was tightly braided. It's almost a rite of passage, sitting for hours, a sore scalp, the soothing feeling of cool gel running between the neatly parted braids at the end. Considering you don't even know what Bantu knots are, I'm going to go ahead and assume that that's not part of your culture. It is absolutely a major fixture in black cultures. Bantu knots, along with other types of hairstyles, became popular in the 1500s amongst African slaves in South America. A Bantu knot symbolized that a person was heading towards a mountainous area and signaled other slaves to either follow them, help conceal them, or aid them in some other way. Bantu knots, not twisty buns or whatever you call them. Tight braids gathered up in a bun called departes symbolized to other slaves that a slave was about to leave and that their departure was imminent. Cornrows are called cornrows because slaves would often take seeds and kernels of corn or various other crops so that they could take them with them to their new settlement and start crops for their own people once they escaped.
Our ancestors would place rice, seeds, and sometimes gold on the scalp between two sections of hair. They did this so that if they were captured and forced to voyage across the Atlantic, they'd at least have a small amount of food for sustenance.
Form follows function. That function was survival and escape. And if you are not respectful and mindful of the mindset of those people when they created these hairstyles, you don't know what a Bantu knot is, then you don't get to argue with black people about their hair. Culture is about experience. Culture is personal and emotional. It's funny, I've been looking at all these pictures and I can't find any with any white people in them. Why do you think that is?
That's what I'm talking about. That is someone that understood the assignment. Yes! It's more than just hair. God! Love it! I'm one of those teachers that when I see a student, now I'm not saying she's actually a student of mine or anything like that, but I'm a type of person when I'm teaching and I see people getting it, it just gives me so much excitement. It's like, yes! Yes, you got it! Love it, I love it, I love it. Let me know what you think in the comment section about how, damn, I lost my train of thought and I'm not redoing this. Let me know in the comment section what you think about this video. Remember, diversity equal power. We can change the world when we work together and protect Black women. Until next time.
Hey, white people. You know, when you're just sitting there minding your own business and a Black person walks up and says, "Hey, can I touch your hair?" What? That never happens to you? Weird. What about when they just reach over and touch it anyway? That doesn't happen either? I'm Kelly Snyder. I'm a behavior analyst and author studying how white people are unfairly advantaged in the United States. And here's the thing. A lot of white people feel completely comfortable asking to touch Black people's hair or just doing it, just reaching out and touching their hair without permission. And look, I get it. You think their hair is fascinating. Okay, cool. That is still not okay. Because this is not curiosity, it's entitlement. You are treating someone else's body like it's public property, like you are entitled to touch it, like it exists for your enlightenment. And when someone says no, or looks uncomfortable, or pulls away, you're confused, and you have no business to be. I've got some references in the video notes. It is not a compliment. It is not harmless. Stop touching people who didn't invite you to do it. Get curious, but not invasive.
Welcome back to World Moving Trend, where we give you an update of what is trending around the world. You've seen the videos of different persons addressing and enlightening people about the history of how we became inferior, or better still, how the white people decided to make our hair unprofessional, or how they made it look like it is not acceptable. And the discrimination is not just starting, it has been for a long while. And one of the things I like about Black people is the creativity around that which they are limited to. You know, you limit them to a particular way, and they come up in that limitation, they come up with something extravagant, and that will make the other race look like, but we thought we just put you guys in one box like that. You guys came up with this. And that's the thing about us. We are very, 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 very enterprising. We are creative. We are loving people. We are beautiful people. And that's what it is basically. So I'm beginning to learn that a lot of people, the fact that a lot of states in the United States of America have decided not to make, some of them are out of 50 states, just 27 have signed the Crown Arts. A lot of them have not even signed it, and they are still making it an issue that if you're in your natural hair as a Black person, it is not accepted in their firm or in their organization, and it is very pathetic. But I'm here to let you guys know. You've seen the videos, you've seen everything that they're talking about. I feel like our hair is our pride. You know, the thing about us is that once you see our hair, you know that yes, this is a Black man, and a Black man is known by the skin of his color and the color of his hair texture, and that's the beautiful thing about us. So I don't know what you think about it, but I feel that a lot of us, especially in Africa, let me bring it out, needs to be educated on how beautiful our hair is, and so we can reduce the number of wigs or the number of coverage, all these other synthetic hairs that we use. We can reduce it drastically, so we know that yes, Black is beautiful. When they say Black is beautiful, we're not just talking about your skin color, we're talking about the color of your hair as well too, and it's so sweet and fluffy. It's like I said earlier, you just see a white man wondering how is this hair like, and they just want to touch you without your permission. And that's what it is basically. You saw in the video earlier how a young white boy was crying that he wanted a Black hair. Why at that age? Because he knows that with a Black hair, he can do magic. And that's what it is basically. Please, I would like to know your thoughts on this particular topic. Please comment below, and don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel. I need your subscription. Please subscribe to this channel. See you guys on my next video. Cheers.